Hi, welcome back. If you're tuning in either on the podcast or you're tuning in on the YouTube version, first of all, on behalf of Sharon and myself, thank you very much for catching back up with us and everything. We weren't too sure if we were going to do something today. We've got some other areas that we did want to cover. We've just been down to Fleet Half Marathon this morning, so we decided that we would just talk about the event today.
Yeah. So, how's your training been in the lead up to the Fleet Half?
I don't know where to start, to be honest, because you know clearly we've gone over how moving back down here, you know, moving into the house, settling back in, getting in, settling into a job, trying to find some consistency. But also, I'll be honest, I really tried not to overthink it and just enjoyed training. Um, it's been a roller coaster. Clearly, things with me generally aren't so smooth. What 2 weeks ago now, caught kidney infection. Mainly, what we've learned in this process is I have no immune system. Or I do have an immune system. That's wrong, but it's completely low. It's just at zero. So I generally, if there's something going to go around, or like we've learned in this process, is if I stress myself out about things, generally makes me unwell. So caught kidney infection. I didn't really take the full course of antibiotics. There's another, discussion point there because I was aware of the Invictus Games trials. So I took a split course of medication, but I took the rest when I came back. And then Tuesday this week had a really good session. And, for us, that was we call it a Tempo Tuesday. Go out, spin the legs out, see how we're feeling. And I actually felt really good. And I thought, you know what, felt quite excited for this weekend. And then woke up Wednesday morning, back to weeing blood. So, for me, that just knocked me straight away back to the doctors again, on more intense antibiotics than last time, which have, caused some feeling unwell and everything like that, and just struggling through the rest of the day. So it was just like, I'll be honest, and you know this anyway, clearly living with me, come Friday, I just didn't think it was going to happen. There was no way I was going to do today.
Yeah. To be honest, the way you were, I didn't think you would be as well. I'm really surprised that you did because you were really suffering, but you managed to turn it around and get on the start line.
Well, yeah. So what about yourself? How did you feel?
So I feel like training, we've started to get back into some kind of rhythm with the training and a bit of a routine. Now we've kind of got our feet under the desk, so to speak, in our new jobs. So that's been really good. And in the past couple of weeks, we managed to get some kind of some longer distance runs in. So we have done a couple of 10 milers. So I think that helped to kind of just reassure us that, yeah, we could get to 10 miles, no problem. And we've done some good kind of tempo sessions as well. So I think I felt comfortable that I would be able to do it today, but I didn't have a clue what the pace was going to look like. So, yeah, it would have been nice to have done some more training, but you know, it was, we've started to get into a routine with it,
Yeah.
and I'm happy with that. So I think this is looking at today is like that kind of baseline of, okay, where we're at, and then hopefully we can start to build on that and improve.
And it's been a long time since you put some trainers on, call it in anger for a race and everything like that. How
Yeah.
did that feel?
Yeah, so it's been, I couldn't even tell you when the last race was. It's been a while, hasn't it? I did do a 5K, I think maybe last year, but nothing longer than that really. So
Before we
I,
went back to Cyprus?
yeah, probably when we were in Cyprus, did some 10Ks out there. But I've been really inspired by seeing what some of our friends are doing on Strava and looking at some of the events that we've been watching on YouTube as well. So I was really looking forward and excited for today. The fact that we were doing it together as well, I think that was really, really good. So yeah, just really excited, a bit nervous as well because my competitive self is kind of wanting to try and, look back, probably 10 years ago or something like that, where I think, oh, can I run at the same pace? But then I think I just have to keep reminding myself, you're doing it because you love it, go and enjoy it, and don't put that pressure on yourself. Just listen to the body, maybe try and push it on the first few miles and then see how that goes.
Yeah.
And then just kind of ease into it from there. So it was quite nice actually, not having any pressure and just going and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
But what about you? How did you feel kind of on the start line?
I'll be honest, I didn't really talk about it, because you know me anyway. I tend to go quiet on the morning of, and I really wasn't feeling still 100% when I woke up. So when we were going down there, I just wasn't too sure if I was going to do it or not. And then because no plan survives contact. We went to the first car park, it was full.
Yeah.
And then trying to find a parking space, and then all of a sudden from finding a parking space, getting the trainers on, and then it was the usual, find a toilet, and then it was just like, well, we'll have a jog and I'll see how it goes. And then from there, it just kind of rolled into it. So not having a lot of time, not by us planning, just because of other things that happened, took some of that anxiety that I now struggle with, before the event. And then I didn't really have a plan. The first number, not sounding too cheeky, I hoped it began with a one.
Yeah.
The second number, I kind of hoped it would, so a one, and then I would hope it would be a 130 something. I had no expectations of what that would be, the numbers after it, but equally, I really wasn't too bothered.
I know. And when you went off to get a car park ticket, I thought I'll just have a quick look through, just have a look at the pace and timings. And I was looking at 140, and I thought, well, what do I need to be running at to come in at around 140? And I think it was like 740 or something like that. So in my mind, I thought, well, if I can run the first few miles around like 7 minute mile in pace, and then things start to slow down after like 6 miles or something, at least then I've put some kind of time.
You banked it.
I banked it, and then whatever happens, happens. So I was kind of looking at that. So yeah, so it's really interesting you're talking about that.
And where we did start, we weren't trying to be too ambitious of where we started. We sort of round that the pace groups, the 130 to 140 pace markers were out.
Yeah.
We sort of positioned ourselves there, and there was a lot of people in front. But equally, when we first started, I personally, because of the amount of people there, it's just like, okay, the pace felt quite controlled. And if anything, not trying to sound too cheeky when I say this, but it actually felt quite slow. And I was holding myself back because there was the amount of people there. So, coming into that first mile, I thought, well, it's been nice, it's been controlled and everything. I can see how it goes. So, we'll have a look at the stats in a minute. But when the first bleep went at 1 mile, and I was like 6:30 something, I thought, I've overcooked this straight
Yeah.
away, which is always my tendency. But perception wise, I thought we'd gone off slow just because of the sheer volume of the
Yeah.
amount of people that were there.
And I don't know about you, but the atmosphere felt quite chilled as well. And sometimes I get that kind of adrenaline rush at the beginning. And I really didn't feel like I had that. I felt like it, because we'd done a bit of a warm up, we'd got to the start, we had like 4 minutes, and then it was straight into it. I didn't feel like kind of that nervous feeling on the start line. Everything just seemed to flow quite nice, and it was just quite a nice steady into the start.
Mm.
And like you said, because it was, there were quite a lot of people in, well, kind of the start line as there always is. It did feel like a comfortable pace to start with. But yeah, I mean, I just felt like it was a really friendly, I think everyone just felt like they were fully supported. It was just felt like a really nice, friendly start line, which was good. But should we look at some stats?
Yeah, do you want to look at yours?
Okay. So, so for me,
For everyone that unfortunately, for the people on the podcast, you were only going to be talking it through. But for those people that are tuning in on the YouTube version, I'll try and overlay something afterwards.
So, for me, like the first kind of 4 miles, I managed to keep it kind of under the 7-minute miling mark. So I started off 6:43, which was my fastest mile. So 6:43 start, and then I managed to hold a 6:50 and a 6:51.
Yeah, and it's quite a rolling terrain and everything like that. I wouldn't say it was a flat part. We seemed to go round on a loop and everything, and
Yeah,
twice back up that sort of incline up near the park, near the
yeah,
entrance. It's quite cheeky.
yeah. So the first 4 miles, you kind of did a loop around through the town, but that it brought you back up like that little
Yeah.
that hill.
So were you happy at that place?
Happy with that. It felt comfortable at the time, but I wasn't sure how long I was going to be able to hold that for because we haven't really done any kind of longer training sessions where we've picked up the pace for that length of time. So in my mind, I think I was probably holding back a little bit. I felt my heart and lungs felt really strong. I didn't, I didn't feel like I was trying to push it. I was over breathing. That felt really comfortable. And I probably until about probably I'd say mile 8, that's when my legs started to really feel tired. And I could tell then I thought, well, yeah, we've done some 10 milers, but not at that pace. So I think I started to then feel tired in the legs. But again, my heart and lungs felt okay. But I wanted to make sure I finished and keep it nice and steady. So I didn't try and push it too much at that point. And then I kind of stayed around kind of 7:20, anywhere between 7:25 and going up to 7:33 at mile 12. And then there was some fantastic support, and I loved the bit where at mile 11 there was like a little airpin bend, you could see everyone coming in on the other side. And I thought that was so motivational, seeing the real, speedy runners on that side, and the support everyone was giving each other through that bit. I thought was fantastic. And I was just smiling the whole way down that bit. Just thought it was such good fun. And it was a downhill as well, so even better. So did the turnaround there, and there was something inside me just clicked, and I thought, you know what? I feel all right inside, like my heart and lungs, I feel really good.
Mm.
So I thought I'm going to really try and open up the legs and just get some more power in. So picked up the pace for that mile 13, and I managed to do a 7:07 and then finished the last little bit on a 6:56. And I kind of tried to keep up that power and just keep the strength there. And I think because I knew obviously I was coming in, and then with everyone cheering at the sidelines as well, I think that always gives you another bit of a boost. But I think it was really positive because I felt as though if my legs were stronger, I could have done something a bit better. But obviously I'm not there today. But happy with that, really happy. And I finished. It was 1:34:22 was my final time. So when I came in and saw the time, I thought, yes, I've got under 1:35,
Yeah.
which I didn't think I was going to get. So really pleased. And my average pace was 7:10, which I've got there. So
Yeah. And you didn't wear a heart rate monitor today, did you?
I didn't wear a heart rate monitor,
No.
but I felt
Controlled.
controlled and comfortable the whole time, which I thought was really positive.
Yeah, I was expecting you, we'll come on to mine in a minute, but I was expecting you to come past earlier than you did and everything,
Yeah,
because I was definitely struggling near the end.
yeah. But how about you? Do you want to go through your stats?
Yeah, so yeah, same thing again. I set no expectations because of the way the week had been, and how challenging it had been leading up to it. So I just didn't know how it was going to go. So I'd say that first mile was an interesting one because I felt like it was slower than it does. No, slower than it was, and I've got a really bad tendency of going off and just cooking it too much in those first ones. But I felt like we were holding it back, and I wasn't feeling well anyway. So I would say, to go through and clock that first mile as a 6:38 was a big surprise. And I was just conscious then of straight away of thinking, okay, I don't want to burn through too many matches early on and struggle because I just didn't know how the day was going to go. So I knew you were close by, so I thought I'd just bring it back a little bit and then just try and settle in. And maybe try and go to like a 7 minute and see how that feels. Second mile, a 6:48, and then the third mile, it was a 7:01. But it was at this point here, I'm not too sure if it was the 3rd mile, and let's see if I can bring it up. Actually, it'd be on the screen. So it was, yeah, 2.5 miles to 3 miles. I get this big thing, and we still haven't really got to the detail of it, of why it happens and everything. Is I had that heart rate spike, and at mile 2.5 and everything, I can feel it as soon as it comes in. The only way I can describe it is just like a handbrake being pulled on. And when that happened at that time, and the heart rate, straight away was above 180. At that point, I thought, do you know what? Probably the way I've been feeling, taking the antibiotics, really bad sleep this week, it's probably just, go to 4 or 5 and everything and just pull off and then just, be there to support you. But for some reason this time, unfortunately for me, is it, shot back down pretty quick and everything like that. And it was at that point there, you came past me
Yeah.
and I wish you a good race. And it was just weird then for it to go back down. And then all of a sudden, it felt like, okay, we can go through the gears again. So then to be, going in and do, mile 3 a 7:01, mile 4, 6:57, followed by a 7:01, 6:58, 6:59, it felt okay. But the longer we got into it, because of bladder and everything issues this week and everything like that, and drinking, I could feel the bladder filling up, and it was just getting to that stage of not trying to search for excuses, but it was painful. But I was pleased to be just out there, and it was just like, do you know what, I felt like, been doing 9, 10 miles, we've done that in training, you see how we go on. But it was literally getting to that, sort of that 9 mile mark and everything like that. And that's when the legs just really kind of struggled. And it was just like you say, the motivation of the people out on the course, cheering us on and everything, and just being grateful for the opportunity to go and do it, was just a fantastic thing. And then I was kind of thinking, because like you mentioned, we sort of did that dog leg. Now, when I went out, it was the first time that I'd had a chance to look behind me. I was expecting you to be a lot closer. And it was at that point there, you were close, but you were probably still a minute or 2 minutes behind me. And I thought, okay, so we came back in, and I'll be honest, my legs were pretty much cooked at that point. Probably had done a bit ambitious to begin with. So, we were into the final 2 miles, just trying to enjoy it for actually what it was, and it was great to then actually see Stevie Donnelly and Tracy DeRee on the side of the course. So I did actually stop for a few seconds just to give them a hug and say hello to them. And then it was like straight back onto the course, and it was just like, I honestly didn't care at that time. I could have probably pushed it and maybe a little bit more,
Yeah.
but it was just about, you know what, for they'd asked me on Friday, there was just not a chance that I was going to be there today and everything. So to have that opportunity to do it and then get around that final bend and see how close you were, I was like, right, it'd be great just to come across the line with you. But I think at that point there, you thought I'd finished
I did.
and coming back out to see you,
Yeah.
and it seemed like you had then hadn't wanted a sprint or something, and I had nothing back in my legs for that final point.
Yeah.
And I think I had to tell you, is no, this is me. I am giving everything I've got for that last little bit.
Yeah, I didn't realise. I actually did think that you'd finished and you were just coming back. But in my mind, I was like, I was adamant. I was thinking, okay, like my legs started suffering probably around mile 8, and I thought I really want to try and, because I felt so good in the heart and lungs. I thought I really want to power through on this last mile. So I was just all for just trying to be running, coming strong at the end.
Did
But
you took gels on the course and that as well, did you?
yeah, so I did. So I took is it precision? Was it
Hydration.
precision hydration, and I took a Morton gel, and I
Yeah,
had the precision hydration one kind of just before the 5 mile point, and then I
yeah,
took the Morton one probably around 8.5 mile.
yeah,
Um, but I thought the precision one, yeah, it was really good. I didn't feel like I was lacking energy at any time. So I think having those
yeah,
little pickup points, and I did take on, well, I tried not to drown at the water stations, but I
yeah,
did take on water at every station, just a couple of mouthfuls, and a little cough and a splutter. And then I didn't bother with the last one. So I just tried to stay quite hydrated. because I think with nerves, I do get quite a dry mouth when I'm running sometimes. So, and it was quite, I thought the temperature was really nice. There was a bit of a wind as well, wasn't there today? But
Bit of a wind.
a lot of a wind,
It was
which
tough.
always seemed to be
Yeah,
nowadays.
it was tough at times. There was definitely some straight bits and everything that
Yeah,
the wind was quite tough. I remember you were going along this one straight and everything, and I probably made quite a good wind blocker. And I looked round, and there was like three, four people just tucked into a line and everything. And I, I didn't feel like I was running that quick and everything. I was probably slowing them down more than being a windbreaker for them.
yeah. What about you? Did you take some nutrition?
Yeah, probably for a half marathon, I'd probably, majority of the time, probably just get through. You could probably even get through away with one gel and
Yeah,
everything like that halfway. But because of the way I've been feeling and nutrition has been sporadic this week, same as you, we sort of kind of chatted about it for the start, so I thought, well, I'll take two. And then if I only take one, at least I've got the one as a spare.
yeah,
But, because when the heart gets to like that, it just I feel like I'm drained after it's done it. I feel like I've really worked harder. So even though it was only a quick blip that heart rate went this time, I got to like 4.5 mile and I took the gel at that point.
yeah,
And I thought, well, I'll see how I got on for the rest of it, and then if I don't need it, I don't need it. But definitely, I felt the, kind of that need at mile 9. Or I
yeah,
just needed something else, just to, you know, did I actually do it, or is it that placebo effect and everything? But I actually quite like those gels. So,
yeah,
for me,
yeah,
the taste is quite palatable. So it kind of did give me a bit. It did feel like it gave me a bit of a lift. So,
yeah.
hey, if it's only feeling and actually nothing else, I'll take that.
Yeah, I've never had that gel before, but the precision hydration one, I felt like it had a bit more substance to it. But obviously the Morton one's a bit more gel, like a watery gel like.
Yeah,
But I did feel like I got more energy, if you will, from that one.
yeah.
Was it a flavoured one that I didn't even look,
I
to be
can't
honest.
remember, to be honest.
Yeah,
But overall, I think what we've got to look at is considering. I did worry that if I said I wasn't going to go, I don't think you would have looked for an excuse because I would still driven you down today and hoped you would have done it. But I was worried that if we didn't go down there, it would have been we could have just found another reason to go and do
yeah,
it. And it was really good to go down there. And some of these people we only know virtually and never met them in real life as such. And it was so good to get down to the event and see people down there. Obviously we know Joe Forshoe. I was, it was great to see Joe out there. And then I managed to catch up with, give him a high five quickly, Daniel Quinlan on the sideline. And then, saw Emma Pearson, fantastic, got a PB today. Nikki Densley, another absolutely outstanding run, got a PB today, I believe, as well.
fantastic.
Yeah, and Kelly Hanover. So it was good to see people that we know from real life and
Yeah.
people we know from the fantastic Strava community. And it was just good to get out there and be sharing what we love with other people doing what they love and everything as well.
I think it's incredible to see just how many people are kind of committed and dedicated and passionate about running. Just and there was just a real nice buzz. And it's such a lovely course because you get a mixture of a bit of everything, don't you? You're in the town, then you kind of go out into the country, if you
Yeah,
will, and it was lovely and green, and just nice and calm. And then you come back into town again, you get all the support
yeah,
there. But just yeah, just seeing those people, like you said, that we kind of people that we followed for quite some time now on Strava.
yeah,
And yeah, it's great to be back, and I really hope that we get to
yeah.
do some more.
And it's genuinely lovely to see them doing well when they're training. We all go through life challenges.
Yeah,
Life throws us those spanners and everything. And I really do mean it when I say it in the aspect of, okay, when I was younger, times did bother me. Yeah. And I was fixated about it. But now time's irrelevant. I literally don't care what anyone else does and everything because they're out there fighting their own battles and that's fantastic to do. And equally, and telling myself this as well as saying it is just enjoying it for actually what it is instead of being fixated about those things.
yeah, yeah,
But setting those goals of having something to try and chase, whether it be a half marathon, a 10K, a 5K.
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
Hopefully we can get a few more booked in.
yeah, I'd really like to. I think today I'd like to say thank you to all the volunteers because we had lots of volunteers there. There's a choir singing kind of
Amazing.
in the
Yeah,
town. All the supporters and the families that were there cheering everybody on were absolutely incredible. Really gave me a boost, and I think everyone a boost. It was so well organised. And obviously, an event like that can't take place without, the organisers, the volunteers, and all the people there supporting and all
definitely.
the runners. So I really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to anyone who wanted to look to do, as a first half marathon. I think if you're in the south of England, I think it's a really nice course to do, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I look forward to doing the next one.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a surprise to be doing this today after everything of late and everything, and definitely this week. But hopefully, it's another thing done now. It's another positive. Hopefully, the legs will be a little bit kinder to us tomorrow, and then we can try and string some consistency back into training and get some other events programmed, and hopefully catch up with you out on the course some other time.
Yeah. Take care and happy running.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Thanks for listening again. Take care. Speak to you soon.